Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Tuesday. Glad you're here. Today's Red Mic message: why do you even post? A friend of mine asked me, he doesn't post a lot, maybe once in a while. He looked at me and said, "You post all the time about a lot of stuff. Why?" He wasn't being critical. He wasn't being sarcastic. He was being honestly curious. So I gave him the most honest answer I had at the time. I've since thought about it, but my most honest answer in that moment was, I don't know. Now, if you've ever said, I don't know to a question like that, it usually means that it's not one reason. It's a lot of reasons, maybe a bunch of little reasons. And if I'm being honest, the metrics of all of this don't scream, keep going. I mean, I've been doing this for more than 2 years now, and yes, my audience is bigger, but is it a lot bigger? No. I mean, posts aren't blowing up. It's not like I'm reaching thousands of people, either here or on my personal page when I hit publish. So if it's not the numbers, then what is it? So I started thinking about that, and the answer came in pieces. The first thought that came to mind, of course, was for a long time, friends were saying, you have interesting stories, you have interesting thoughts, you ought to do a podcast or something. And I put it off for a long time. And then I bought this red microphone, and initially I was going to be political. I thought, oh, well, be political and a lot of people will pay attention. Yeah, but half the audience would not. I mean, I don't make any bones about it. I'm a conservative guy, at least fiscally. But I've purposely made the red mic messages non-political. I mean, you can figure out from context clues a lot about me, a lot about how I think and stuff like that. But as far as purposefully getting up and saying, vote this way, do this way, support that, I don't do that. It's just, I figure you should do your own research and come to your own decisions based on who you are, what you think, how you were raised. So politics off the table. The next thing that came to mind was I tend to think in a couple of ways. I'll have an idea, but I'll flesh it out by writing it, or I'll have an idea and it will start that cascade of thoughts into pop culture references. And I tend to think in those metaphors, right? So I know there's a lot of people like me who have to get it out. They have to organize it. They have to shape it. They have to say it out loud. If a thought gets fully formed and I don't do something with it, it feels incomplete and it'll just nag me. Hey, you didn't say this. You didn't do this. I think it's in my wiring. And when you spend a lot of time in communications, leadership, messaging, you don't just turn that switch off. You see things, you connect dots, you feel the urge to say, here's what I think this means. And part of it is the feedback loop, but not the loud kind, not the viral kind. But it's the message you get 2, 3 weeks later, or the comment from somebody you didn't expect, the person that says, hey, this one stuck with me. Because even though at the end of these every day, I say, leave me a comment, give me a like, a follow, and a share, all the stuff you're supposed to say. Most people don't. They don't say anything. They don't share. They don't like it. Nothing. They listen and leave. Or maybe they listen for just part of it and then they leave. But they're seeing it. They read it. Sometimes they remember it. That sort of came really top of mind this weekend. I finished my father of the groom speech at Daniel's wedding, and 4 or 5 people came up to me afterward and said, man, your speech touched me, made me cry, stuff like that. And I was blown away because I don't get that kind of feedback here. So it got me to thinking, well, maybe people who are listening aren't saying anything because we're not at the same reception. So maybe the scoreboard I'm looking at, it's not the real scoreboard. So I didn't just start posting to, a little more than 2 years ago. I started developing my voice, a pattern, a body of work. And I think people recognize that when they see it. It wasn't some grand strategy when I started, but it's real now. It's something I do. If I had to answer more honestly today, I'd probably say I don't post because it's blowing up. I post because it's how I think. And once it's formed, I'd rather put it out than just sit on it or have it rattle around in my skull. So maybe the better question isn't why I post, but what happens if I stop? Do the thoughts get sharper? Do they just stay stuck rattling around in my noggin? Do these ideas help anybody? Man, I sure hope so. Um, I'd feel, I don't know, I'd feel like I wasted my time if nobody got anything out of this. Because I know some people scroll and some people might comment and some people like me might have a feel a responsibility to create. So I do. And that's why I share these red mic messages, which, as you've heard me say before, are leadership and life lessons I've picked up from my 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as that mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. I share because I think if you're wired to create, not creating feels like you're not done. You're leaving something unfinished. And not every contribution needs to have applause or acknowledgement, even to have value. So, whatever you put out into the ether, be honest. You know, Marty Stewart said, be who you are at all times and tell folks out there the truth, and that ain't going to cost you a dime. It might cost you some time, like the time I spend on these every day, but hopefully the message will stick somewhere for somebody, even if they never tell you. And that's today's Red Mic message. Hope you found it interesting. Can't imagine you found it helpful, but if you did, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you heard it. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. And until next time, life is short. Drink the bourbon. I'll see you.